All right. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Art Tech Trends podcast. I'm Sam. I'm here with my boy Rohan over here, and we about to talk a little bit of fashion, lifestyle, of course, and then we're gonna get to know him, his brand, and a little, just talk a little bit. It's what 2 weeks into the new year.
2 weeks into the
We're sitting over here in Atlanta, Georgia. Probably what the coldest. I said it earlier. The coldest day of the year. How are you doing this morning, and how's everything with you?
It's good, man. Pretty cold, but enjoying it. Just reminded me of where I came from. So a little New York cold today, but it's good.
Facts, man. I feel like we're gonna dive into that. But so born and raised in New York. You're from Brooklyn, New York.
Yes, sir.
Jamaican, Brooklyn.
Yeah,
So what's the connection there with Jamaica and Brooklyn? Like you gotta explain that to me because there's a lot of Jamaicans in that particular area.
yeah. Just a lot of Jamaicans just migrated to Brooklyn. I mean, many other cultures as well, but a lot of
Facts,
Jamaicans
facts.
definitely migrated to Brooklyn, Long Island, and Queens. A lot of my families were spread out through both Long Island and Brooklyn. But yeah,
Got you,
man.
got you. Okay. So let's kind of want to dive into it. Growing up, what got you into fashion? Being uh, a boy growing up in New York into a man, what got you into the aesthetics and what was like your first memory of you getting into fashion?
With my dad. My dad was,
Oh, he was fly.
oh man,
Okay.
probably
Okay.
still like the best dressed person I've ever known. Like
Right.
he
Wow.
just, it was just organic.
Shout out to
But shout
Pops.
out to Pops, man. Yeah, he just had it, and naturally, I gravitated towards it, and I would just watch him in the mornings, just get dressed and just change the scene, and I just would watch how people would respond to him. I just noticed that there was like a cause and effect with him getting dressed and
So what was the
dancing.
responses? That's an interesting thing that you
Yeah,
bring up because like if you are someone that dresses well and things like that, I feel like every time you go out, you're gonna get some type of comment. Like,
definitely.
what was the respect for with
So
pops when he went out?
it was cool, right? Because you had like other male figures in the family who would kind of like look up to him, and he held this kind of position, and they would just look up to him in that manner. And then of course, you had ladies who would just flock and say all these beautiful comments to him. You know what I mean? And as a young man, you just looking kind of just like, I kind of inspired to be that one day. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You're
just
like,
kind of like just
I definitely want to be like that when I grow up.
yeah.
So what was his style like? Was it more so like Afrocentric? Was it like clean,
Yeah,
tailored,
so
artsy?
it was a little bit of mixture of everything. So
Okay.
um, him growing up in Europe and Jamaica, he had a little bit of very clean look. So there's times where he would put on a three-piece corduroy suit.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Pops had it on.
He had it. He had it. Then he had like this one. For some reason, I just remember this one look in particular, and I loved. It was a denim top and bottom, and it had like a cowhide print on the top of the jacket and on the back pocket of the
Oh yeah,
jeans.
he was fly.
And he wore his construction Timbs. You know what I mean? And it was just a vibe. You know what I mean?
So that's one of the most interesting things for me about fashion is like depending on what fabric you have and where you put it.
Yeah.
I think Kanye had like a saying like he was like I'm gonna make shoes that people are not used to seeing.
Mm,
So like for instance, like like houndstooth on the jacket, like
right.
on the peacoat, like
Yeah.
people are not used to seeing
For
those type
sure.
of
For
things.
sure.
So if you mix it up like that, I feel like it stands out extra. So how would you? So pops got you a little bit taken into fashion.
Yeah.
And then where did you take that love for it growing up? How did you get into like making clothes? Because that's a wearing it and
Two,
making it are
two
two
different
different
things.
things.
Yeah, definitely. I started sketching for a while, and my dad had contacts in Thailand, and so he
Hey,
took
shout
us.
out Thailand.
Yeah, he took about three of my first sketches of denim, and he had it produced for me.
Okay.
And when I saw it go from paper to realism, it just blew me away, and I just really like just catapulted how I felt about what I was doing and experiencing. So that just really changed the idea for me. So I ended up going into school for fashion and designing.
So
And
hold on, hold on, hold on. So
sorry.
you're from that moment, you were like, because not how old were you? Where were you at? Where you're like, this is exactly what I want to do with my
I
life.
was around 15 years old.
Okay,
I
so
was
to
15
find
years
what you
old.
want to do art wise at
Yeah,
15, was your parents like, okay? Because I have immigrant parents,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I art
yeah.
at 15,
Right,
like I
right.
don't know, I don't know if that
Yeah.
happened. That so how did that
It was
conversation go
interesting,
over?
man, because I actually went to school for architecture first.
Okay,
That was like my first love. And
you went the Virgil route. That was his
right.
doing. That's what he said.
And I was in class one day, and we were working on this big project, and in the middle of class, I was just like, man, this isn't it. Although I love what I'm doing here, this isn't it. So that day, by this point in college, both my parents had passed away by that point. But my grandmother, she was like the adult figure in my life, and so I went home and I just sat down and I'm just like, I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And of course, she just had my back and she just wanted the best for me. So she was just like, just give it everything you got. And so I did. I went to school for it. I studied. I met people in that world. And so what I did was just created an environment that would work well for me. So just meeting people and in the industry, no matter what field it was, what exactly they were doing. I just wanted to be around those people and hopefully gain knowledge and information for myself to grow in that space.
Yeah, how did that go over like in the community? Because I know growing up and being interested in fashion
Yeah,
is not necessarily like the norm.
yeah,
So how did that go over with the homies
yeah,
and like in the whole community?
yeah. So it was cool because you know where I'm from, you had the cats with money, and then you had me and my team where we didn't really have it like that, but whenever we did, we got core pieces. So whenever we were able to find a little bit more money to add to our wardrobe, we just created something out of nothing. And
Facts.
so I think with that, people who with the money would see us and be like, man, y'all really like creating something out of nothing and creating this whole new look and vibe that is dope to the culture and the community. I just love to. I want to see what's next, and so it was almost like they were rooting for us at the same time without knowing what I was doing. But when they found out, it just clicked for them. It's just like, I can see that for you.
Facts. And I think that's like an interesting piece because when you talk about core pieces in shopping, and whenever someone asks like fashion advice or like how or what to shop for, I always say like get you like your core pieces, your different fabrics, like stuff that's gonna stick out, but things that you're gonna be able to wear everywhere.
Oh,
Because
for
there's
sure.
nothing more, I wouldn't say annoying than when someone comes to get style and they're like, "Well, I just want something for this one
Right,
event," and
right,
like you don't go to these things every day.
right,
So if
right.
you, I understood if you went to the Grammys and this and that, and like you had different public
Yeah,
appearances, that's
yeah,
different.
yeah.
But if you don't go every day, getting something just for a party, like you got to think about the whole scope of your closet
Oh,
and then
definitely,
mesh it in and stuff like
definitely, definitely. Kind of have to be smart when shopping because you can definitely just have money sitting in your closet,
that.
and that's
Absolutely.
what you don't want.
Absolutely,
And that's definitely
absolutely.
one of my selling points too when just creating pieces is let's not just shop for the occasion. Let's just whenever we're looking at fabric, I like to ask my clients a bit about who they are, what they do, and once I get the scope of who they are, what they're looking for, what their end goals are, I can kind of build based off of their story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that helps set like a precedent for like how they're gonna feel in the clothes, because
Definitely.
that whole adage where the clothes is wearing you
Yeah.
versus you wearing them, you want
Yeah.
to make sure that doesn't happen.
For sure.
So growing up, going to school, after school, where do you decide to shift to as far as like retail
Yeah.
and things like that? Because here's what a lot of people doesn't really understand when it comes to retail,
Yeah.
because people work people don't necessarily go behind the scenes in retail. You're always transactional shopping. There's a huge career potential in the retail industry.
Definitely.
And that's going from your low high end stores like J. Crew to
Right.
like Saint Laurent
Right.
and Valentino
Yeah. Yeah.
and things like that, where you can get a little bit more of a different experience.
Oh,
You're more
definitely.
into career work,
Yeah.
setting up your client
Yeah,
book,
for sure.
recurring businesses, and things like that.
Yeah.
So how did you pivot to that particular field, and what store gave you like your first, okay, I could work in this
Yeah.
industry?
Yeah. All right. I started working at a company called Brooklyn Industries. For them, I was just sales at the time, but I was so eager just to learn and grow. I started working with people in HR, so I started modeling for the company. After modeling for the company, I wanted to do more, and so I sat and I spoke with the CEO about other opportunities for me to grow in the company, and I started designing bags with the lead bag designer there, and from there, it just put a whole different battery in my back. And while I'm doing this, I'm also in school,
Yeah.
creating pieces, and so it was around that time where it was just like, I think I have something special here, and so I ended up having to take a backseat on the design aspect of it because of life, and just had to make money and try to figure that out. So I got into suiting on Wall Street, and Wall Street changed my life.
Man, bro,
Yeah.
listen, my first time walking down Wall Street, it was like, honestly, it was like the movies,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
was really like, and it was the winter in New York. So you see
yeah.
like the long trench
Oh
coat, you
yeah,
see the gloves, you see
yeah,
all the style. And I'm looking like, dang, like they look like they're going somewhere.
yeah.
I don't know where, but something important, and they look like
Right.
they had to get there
No, for
fast.
sure,
So,
for sure.
um, how did that experience, and what type of suits were you selling in Wall Street?
Yeah. So it was a lot of businesses, a lot of
Okay.
businesses. We did have some fun pieces, but mainly businesses. That was our client base
And
day
what
in
what
and
what
day out.
color would you say those were?
Uh, Black, blue, and gray all day long. All day long.
Hey man, hey,
Yeah.
the this is the box, and
Yep.
here
That's
you
it.
are.
That's it.
I
That's
feel
it.
like for suiting for a long time, like man, when I was younger, my mom's like, and shout out to her for like encouraging this. She
Yeah.
would buy me suits, and I used to be like, I'm not wearing
Right.
that.
No, for
Like
sure.
nobody
For
I
sure.
know is wearing
Right.
it, and I'm
Yeah.
not wearing it to church.
Yeah.
But the suits, like she would just buy it off the rack and
That's
bring
it.
it, but she didn't know much about like how my suit. She would get her stuff tailored,
Right.
but
Right.
she
Right.
didn't know like I
That's
needed the
true.
extra
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
seams taken out,
Yeah.
things like that to my liking, not
Yeah. For
necessarily
sure.
how she wanted it to fit. So making those particular suits, and then going from there, where did you go next after Wall Street?
Well, after Wall Street, my manager there forced me uh, to suit supply. Suit
By
supply.
force you meant like, hey, you coming with me?
Now he was
Like,
like, "Man, you're young. You're a lot better than this. They're like so much cooler than what you see here,
yeah,
and you're always on their website. Like, why don't you just go
it's
apply?
vibey. That
See?
website, I was active on that
Oh
website a
yeah,
lot. It's
definitely,
definitely vibey.
definitely.
So going into Suit Supply, what did you first think about the pieces when you first got there?
Oh man, it was vibrant. It was if first going into suit supply, you feel cool.
Yeah, for
When you
sure.
put your first suit supply suit on, it was it. It changed the game for me and a lot of my other colleagues as well. You just really knew what it meant to wear a suit.
Facts. I think so. My homeboy Samson put me on. He told me about the store, and I went in there, and I've never been into a store where I can get like a complete rundown of
Yeah,
like what tailoring
yeah,
is, how it
yeah,
fits, how everything goes. And another thing I appreciated, it was like people that looked like me too was
yeah,
there.
for sure.
Like there was every nationality represented,
Definitely.
and I could speak to the people. They could give me tips on like what bars to go
Oh
to.
yeah.
I got a
Oh
dope
yeah.
speak easy in New York because of
Yeah.
Sioux Supply.
Yeah.
So going there, obviously, as getting into suiting, you realize the price point that Sioux Supply is
Yeah.
and how far you have left to go,
Yeah.
but is a
Yeah.
starting point.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
when you got there, seeing that it's vibrant, what was that? What was that thought process in your head? Like what, like the creative in you? What were you thinking while you
Oh
were there?
man, it was at this point I was just like, whoever is behind this, I need to sit down with that person.
Right,
I'm like,
right, right.
we need like a meeting of the minds, and it really just got my creative juices flowing.
Yeah,
But
because you think about the person
yeah,
who's making
you know what
all
I mean?
these,
Who's
like,
doing that?
okay, these
Right.
double breasted,
This,
it fits like
this is a
this.
creative mind right here. I need to tap
Facts.
in.
They cover
Yeah.
every era.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
and I love like 50, 60 suiting. Like
Definitely.
that's kind of like my time period I like to
Definitely.
stay in when it
Yeah.
comes to suits. But yeah, so suit supply, getting the master of the mind. Did you ever get to meet the creator or
We have actually. He would actually come into town and give us presentation before the new collection would drop. So he
okay,
would
that's
give us the
fire.
full spiel, give us a story behind where the inspiration came from, and then we would utilize that to pretty much sell the product. But yeah, we got to meet, not the way I wanted to, but
Yeah.
we did meet.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So taking it from there, and I'm just focused right now. I'm staying on the retail side of
Okay.
things
Okay.
because that's the first side of the business,
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
goes into your creative process. Because oftentimes when people start making clothes, if you don't hear the history of how they got there, you think like, oh wow, they just came up with an idea and
Right.
here they are making
Oh,
it.
for sure.
Whether it's like you have background education,
Right.
you have knowledge
Right.
behind it, how the
Yeah.
pieces are made and tailored and things like that. So next time I see you off of Soup Supply, I see you in Valentino. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
walking in there. I'm like, yo, I walk in
Yeah.
there. I pull up in Fifth. I was like, my
Yeah,
boy is
yeah,
in
yeah,
here.
yes,
What's
sir,
good? How you
yes,
doing?
sir.
And as always, man, you always been like, and I want to share this with you just based on the fact I just meet you,
Yeah,
right? Like I probably met you like maybe 3 times
yeah,
the most, four,
yeah,
four or so in my life. And it
yeah,
was just more so brief conversations and
yeah,
things. But you always like super humble, like really like, like a gentleman
yeah.
from a
Appreciate that.
standpoint of like you meet another, brother,
Yeah.
another black man,
Oh
and
yeah.
you're always welcoming, you're always
Yeah.
here to share
Oh,
advice and
for
stuff like
sure, for
that.
sure.
So I respect that. And because of that, I can see why the growth is essential for
Love,
you.
man. I appreciate that,
Yeah,
brother.
for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So Valentino,
Hmm.
high-end store,
Yep.
designer, is that a different clientele than
Oh
Suit
yeah.
Supply, different market?
Yeah. So definitely a different clientele. The transition for me, the purpose for it was, I wanted to know what luxury looked like from that scale, and both Suit Supply and Valentino had probably the best, most in depth knowledge and information to share with their employees. And I felt like that really changed my outlook on how I would relate to my client. And so it was nice because I was able to utilize that and build a clientele based off of those information, because I now know how to engage. I know what to expect, and it just taught me something different in my mind, in a way of communicating with both clients.
Absolutely. I think like being able to communicate with different levels of people, and being able to sell to them as well
Yeah.
is a talent because man, I feel like there's this thing like if you don't have $1,000 in your pocket right then and there or 4,000, you shouldn't walk into a designer store. And
Right.
people are so scared about
Right.
walking into the
Yeah, for
store
sure.
to see things and get inspired. And it's like you're one of the people that make it like, bro, like you could come in here and check
Wow.
out the
Yeah,
merch. Like
yeah,
if you like it,
yeah,
you might find some form of it in something that you
yeah.
like that fits your price point,
Right.
or I can tell you about pieces.
Right, for
So now
sure.
I can grow your thought process and like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe
Yeah.
if I get this, I can layer it with different things.
Definitely.
Like the object for how you sell to customers is not, hey, you have to get all these designer items, but it's
Right.
like, let me build your closet. Let me make sure I put you in something that is going to be able to grow you as a
Definitely.
person rather than, I want to sell you something right away.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
I definitely appreciate that as well.
Yeah, love.
Um, so going from there, you're currently at Saint Laurent,
Yes.
and you were at Valentino during what I would consider, I'm not sure with you, like a rebranding of them in a sense,
Oh no,
and they
for
were
sure.
popping at the time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
For
they were
sure.
they were popping at the time,
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
to Saint Laurent right now, which is a staple.
Staple.
They've been here, they're gonna
Staple.
be here,
Yeah.
and they make quality pieces. So, how has that been so far? Being that you're in the Atlanta market as well,
Yeah.
and how's things been for you?
So it's been really good. I've learned recently to start associating who I am also with YSL, only because it allows people to know and feel comfortable with working with me. So it's just like, oh, so you understand luxury. So when
Absolutely.
when my brand does come up, it's like, it all makes sense. I feel comfortable enough working
Student
with
of the
you
game, man. Student of the
because
game.
you know what you're talking about. You're able to speak to it because you come from it. But Saint Laurent definitely gave me a lot of information and contacts that I probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for being in Atlanta specifically. But it's been great.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I definitely like that feel just because you're able to tap into your network.
yeah,
And obviously the clients that you build over time, such as myself, if I see you in their store, obviously I'm gonna walk in just
love,
because number one, I want to say what's up and I want to pick your brain, like what are you into right
yeah,
now?
yeah,
And then what the seasons and things like that look like.
yeah,
So creative wise, kind of switching over to that point of view. What inspires you on a day-to-day basis, man? We have so many things going on in our
yeah.
lives. Like, what inspires you to keep creating?
Um, I try not to uh, watch too many uh, fashion blogs, or sometimes it kind of like could clog your mind, and you like creatively you automatically start creating what you see. So
Absolutely.
I like to sometimes just sit in my own space, maybe even drive for maybe 2 or 3 hours at a time, just clear my mind and just think creatively. My team and I, we would look at colors. We would look at some of the new fabrics that just came in for this season, and we would think about ways of bridging the gap between streetwear and luxury suiting, and then we'll come up with all these concepts and ideas. We'll sketch it out, have samples made, but just driving, being in my own space, music, definitely music.
Facts, facts.
We what we try to do with the term luxury. When you think of our brand Bailey P. Jones, you think of, I want you to associate luxury with it. And luxury is more so an experience. So with any and everything that you do, you want to have this luxury experience because it just changes everything. It changes your mood, how you feel, how you think, and you're able to just do better if you feel better. And
Absolutely.
so it's all about the
Absolutely.
experience for me.
Man, you look good, you feel good, you play good. Shout
That's
out Deion
it.
Sanders for that quote. And but yeah, like you said, in order to build a luxury brand, it's about everything.
Yeah,
It's about able to embody the lifestyle,
yeah,
being able to be different at
yeah,
certain times, being able to make sure you teach it out as well
yeah,
because
for sure.
it's free information out here but it's not cultivated,
Education,
and
yeah,
when you do it you are able to cultivate that information
yeah,
directly to the person. So
yeah.
Bailey P. Jones, you're part of a group. You want to shout out your
Yeah,
team and
man.
everyone. Hopefully we get the boys in here at a
Yes,
later time, definitely.
as you know, Rohan Bailey, myself, Isaac Jones, my brother from Philly, part of Bailey P. Jones, and then Demetrius Pitt, also from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
Shout outs to you too, brother.
Y'all
That's
say
the team.
y'all say Brooklyn with like a force,
Oh
like we from
yeah, man. When
I
you
ain't
say
gonna lie
Brooklyn, it's
to
a
you.
different feel.
I hate to break it to you. The first time I went to Brooklyn, I'm in front of Target where the Nets play right now.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
looking around, I look left, I look right. I'm like, yo, y'all be saying all this stuff about Brook. This is it. This is what we get right now.
that
But
is
I had to
funny.
understand, like when I'm in New York,
Yeah,
it's not about the surroundings. It's really about the people.
one
Like
hundred
the
percent
hustle in that city is different.
different,
Like it's different, and
different.
I learned that from like I used to recruit in New York for people going to like one end of New York to the other. So I got
Yeah,
to learn about, CI,
right, right,
Comac.
right.
Like
Oh yeah,
if you were in the city, you ain't trying to drive out to the
yeah. No,
island, but you would go to the city from the
yeah,
it's
no, for
it's a little
sure,
bit different.
for sure.
But I respect the grind. I respect the ingenuity that comes out of New
Oh, for
York.
sure.
And I feel like who are your inspirations? Like if you had to give me like top five fashion
Mm,
inspirations. They might not necessarily have to be from New York, but who would you
mm,
say is your top five fashion inspiration?
wow. Uh, Ralph Lauren himself, Ralph
Okay.
Lauren himself.
Okay.
Uh, Kanye, big Kanye
Facts. Yeah,
fan.
is on my top five too.
Man, um, Fab, Fab, Brooklyn. We go hard.
That boy
Uh,
Fab been fresh since,
woo.
the 90s. Had the jerseys
Oh,
going crazy.
very long time,
Fab
man.
is the only person that can mismatch designers, and I can feel like
No.
it's all right, bro. Like do you, because you've been doing
No,
this.
for
You've been
sure,
doing it.
for sure,
All right,
definitely.
that's a good list.
Um, who else? Let me sit for a second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like focus on New York, right? Just to see if there's anybody else in New York I can say before I go anywhere else. Diddy at one point actually had like a big inspiration to me, especially party attire, and then Farnsworth Bentley,
Okay.
also known as Derek Watkins.
All right. All
Yeah,
right. He's from Atlanta too, right?
he's from the
Hey man, he's the originator of. Listen, we love to give the credit where credit is
A.
due,
Definitely.
but before Farnsworth Bentley, you never really saw a tailor like from like the ankles
Oh,
all the
definitely.
way up, like black man.
Yeah,
Like you never really saw that out there. So you definitely give him
yeah,
his
for
credit
sure.
for wearing the loafers, the no shows,
For
and
sure.
things like that.
For
So
sure.
that's a solid list, man. That's a solid list. I feel like my is definitely on there. Virgil,
Virgil.
for sure.
Strong.
Paul Rodriguez, just because like I'm a
Okay.
huge streetwear guy,
Yeah, I
and
love
like
that.
he was a skater, and he really changed how like Nike made dunks and
Oh, for
SBs
sure.
and
Yeah,
stuff like
no,
that. So
definitely.
I'm huge into that. And then man, some new people that's been coming up there. The designer, I think his name is like Alexandro from Gucci. I think
Oh,
when he
yeah.
first got there with
Yeah.
the snakes and stuff like
Crazy.
that, he went crazy.
Crazy.
And then of course Pharrell going
Man, shout
crazy
out to
right now.
Pharrell,
Pharrell's going
man.
crazy
Shout
right
out
now.
to
He
Pharrell.
just put out his new collection, and he
Yeah.
went completely like
Yeah.
Western
Crazy.
cowboy. Like
Crazy.
yeah, it's like he brought America to Europe right under
Right.
their nose without them even knowing.
That
So I
was
thought that was
dope. That
fly.
was dope.
And then I would say for me, like all those put together
Yeah.
is kind of how I'm able to express my fashion and
Yeah,
stuff
for
like that.
sure.
But um, so what I wanted to kind of get into right now, of course, like being a creative, you're creating a brand and being able to really be in the atmosphere. You're really like cultivating a part of this new movement, man.
Yeah.
Like people interested in fashion,
Yeah.
and it's mind blowing.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
everywhere. Everyone like pictures. Like I'm a
Yeah.
photographer. Everyone wants pictures to improve whatever lifestyle, company, whatever they have going on. But it's like we're so close now to like everything shared digitally,
Yeah.
that everyone has to be at a certain part, and no one is trying to fall off. How
Right.
exciting is that for you for fashion to be like the driven point right now of people's daily life?
No, it's dope, man. I love the idea of people just expressing themselves. And so that alone gives me creative juices. I think not being placed into a box and just doing what you see, but being able to know who you are and living your truth by expressing yourself the way you want to, you know, is beautiful to me, And I think I love the idea of people just waking up and just wanting to be, you know, a part of it in their own way. You know what I mean? So it's definitely beautiful to see and inspiring for sure.
Facts, facts. All right, man. Well, my biggest thing from this particular interview, I want to learn a little bit about you,
Yeah,
and then a little bit more about the company as
yeah,
well. But we'll get the boys in and do like a whole roundup and
fine.
things like that. So, speaking of Bailey P. Jones, what would you say as far as like the brand? If you had to give me like a quick synopsis of
Yeah,
like what you guys do and
yeah, for
products
sure.
that you sell.
So Bailey P. Jones is a custom suiting brand that offers luxury streetwear in an elevated way. Um, we like to service first, and everything else falls into place. building that relationship and connecting with the person and understanding who they are to be a part of the brand. BPJ, we also use the hashtag for it as an acronym to be a part of the journey. So be part of the journey. So whether that's on your end, allowing us to take part in your life, for you to help us be a part of your journey, for you to be a part of our journey. So we want to relay that in everything that we do, because it's never an overnight process. And those who are with us from the very beginning to the very end, we just want to enjoy everyone being a part of our journey.
Absolutely. What are one of those first instances along the way so far that you've kind of taken a step back to be like, wow, like we just did
Yeah.
that?
Man, we not that long ago had a beautiful collaboration with Summer Walker, and we had the opportunity to dress her band, partner with Tiana Taylor to add some added features on for the suiting for the show. But that really, you
That
know,
was a dope show.
thank you, man.
Like
Yeah, it
that
was
was like
fire. She did her
curated.
thing, man. It was beautiful, man. That was a moment for us, for
What
sure.
did you guys what was the concept you guys did with the band, and kind of how did the
Yeah.
suiting colors and stuff look?
So she had like a color that she wanted for her show, because it was something that a color that she was going to be wearing throughout the show. So they ended up settling on this pink tone, and she was very particular about the color. So we found a color. We partnered with her team. We made it work.
Bro,
Um,
finding palettes.
oh man,
Because to me, like sometimes every color looks like each other. So
no,
finding
for
palettes
sure.
could be difficult.
Yeah, but it's fun at the same time,
Facts,
because
facts.
it's learning too, right? And all these different names for all these different colors is very interesting. But
Yeah,
it's a beautiful journey.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So the dressing process, what did you guys end up like putting the band in?
So we did a couple of double-breasted, soft shoulder pieces, and then single-breasted peak lapel pieces. I'll send you pictures as well, but you'll see the two. It's just clean, fitted suits. Some of them we had to kind of leave a little bit of room, just depending on the instrument they were playing. But
Details,
yeah, the
details.
details, man.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. And I know you guys also do weddings and stuff like
Oh
that,
yeah.
which is huge
Yeah.
because, photography and stuff like that. I tend to sometimes dive into weddings. My girl is DJ, she does weddings as well.
Wow.
Uh, but that intricate detail of styling a wedding hasn't been a thing until lately, and I feel like I'm excited about that part
Yeah.
because now it's like, yes, leave it to the professionals.
Right. For
Leave
sure.
it to the
For sure.
professionals,
For
like
sure.
because they get you right. You want everything right on your wedding day.
One
I feel
hundred
like that
percent.
the what you're wearing, if you get a professional to handle it,
Oh yeah.
and a suiting company that's gonna walk you down the aisle, no puns,
Yeah.
is going to be a way that you can further cultivate, your what you're doing. So how did that come
Definitely.
about as far as like weddings is concerned?
So honestly, it really just happened. When people started finding us out, what we do, it just naturally happened. But during this process, we've learned to say no. There's times where people would want or have an idea, and sometimes as a brand, you want to portray a certain identity. And when people want certain things done in a certain way that doesn't quite fit your aesthetic as a brand, when you talk about us or say, "Oh, such and such made this," we don't want that associated with us. So learning to say no was like the biggest thing for me during that process. But it's beautiful when uh, you have people who kind of like allow you to help steer them in a certain direction, and they love the end result. So that's what that's been.
Facts, facts. And
Yeah,
I think, like I said, that's an intricate detail
yeah, for sure.
to a wedding for sure. So we're gonna let you go over here in just a second, but I know you mentioned music and
Yeah,
things. So I always like to just kind of find some personal things about my guests that they
sure
might be
thing.
interested in. So when it comes to music, give me your top five artists that you either listen to currently or of all time. And it doesn't have to be particular genre, and then the little kick to it, you got to tell me why, because music as I learned, because I'm around a DJ,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
vibrations, it's
Right. Yeah, no,
information.
for
It
sure.
it tells a lot about what your current mood is and
For
things like
sure.
that.
For
So talk
sure.
to me a little bit about top five that you're listening to
Man,
right now.
there's this beautiful African artist, amazing artist, who has a beautiful way of writing. His name is Manana.
Okay,
And I just love the way he writes. He tells a beautiful story, but it's also very relatable.
nice,
So
nice.
that
Sounds like
that
an artist that I would definitely check out for
yeah,
sure.
amazing man. So he's definitely on the list for sure. I'm a big J. Cole fan.
Okay.
J. Cole, I love J. Cole. I'm a group both J. Cole and Nas in the same category,
Ooh,
only because
because he's there now.
yeah, man, he's there. He
He's
is.
there now.
It's education, and I feel like anytime you're finding a way to push our people forward, giving them information to better resources to help grow our people, our culture, I think is huge. And I have kids, so all I want is the best for them. And so, if you're getting that through music, why not? You know what I mean? And that's just what J. Cole and Nas does for me. Just information.
Okay.
Um, so that's three.
Yep, we got Manana,
Mhm.
we got Cole Nas.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see. I really want to say Jay to Jay Z.
okay,
Uh, just I feel like he embodies what Black excellence is.
right.
I think
And he tells it to us over and over again, and make sure we learn it, make sure
for
we
sure,
represent it,
for
and things like
sure.
that. So yeah, he does a good job,
I agree.
just laying out the framework.
Definitely,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
Definitely. I just think he's like just super dope, intelligent, and it's just inspiring. Just something to look forward to and look up to. Both him and his wife. I just feel like he just does it well, and I think he's also leaving a great footprint for artists to come as well. My fifth artist, one of my favorite guys. He's from the A. Saha the Prince.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure if he's still with Good Music, but I know
Fresh,
he
fresh
was.
too. Always fresh
Oh
too.
man, yeah, definitely, man.
Heavy influence with Ye.
Yeah,
So yeah,
had
yeah,
the
for
pleasure of meeting
sure.
him a few times.
Okay.
But super dope, super dope.
Yeah, he's like really into fashion too.
Big into
Yeah, yeah.
fashion
Yeah. One of
and
my homeboys used to style him like way back, like
fire,
2010s or something like
fire.
that.
I saw him once walking into Lenox Mall, and he like complimented this Ralph sweater I had that was like probably like 7 years old at the time. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
You know what I
the
mean?
ones know, man. The
They
real
know,
ones know. The
they
real
know,
ones know
man.
for
But
sure.
the his I feel like his rhyming is just almost unmatched at times, and I feel like he don't get enough credit.
Yeah,
Some of the best, some of the greatest, I feel like don't always get enough credit. But I'm going to go on a regular shout out my man, shout out to Prince
facts,
for doing his
facts.
thing for
Some
sure.
of some of the greatest don't get enough credit, and I think the credit for me, like the way how I take out of it now, being in this space is like the credit is really in the work.
Oh, for
Because if
sure.
if it's like the satisfaction comes from you putting out a product versus the response, sometimes the response is not worth the wait for.
Facts.
Because there's so much work that goes into like just putting out an idea.
Yeah,
And there's so much like thought process that goes into it that
yeah, for
sometimes it's
sure.
just like even if I push something out, like you just turn off your phone and
Yeah,
it's like a
yeah,
relief, like you don't really care,
yeah,
like you just kind of go about your
yeah,
day
for
and stuff like
sure. Yeah,
that. But yeah, man. But it was definitely an absolute pleasure for you to pull up on me.
yeah. Thank
I'm
you for having me, man.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna wrap. I'm gonna leave you to say, your mantra for the new year because we're step into the new year.
Yeah.
Mine is minding my damn business. Just because of the aspects of I got a lot of things to do. And I feel like I need the time and the space to
Yeah,
cultivate ideas.
definitely.
So being in this like headspace of like I'm grinding up, I'm trying to stay out of, not that I didn't mind my business before, but like things that don't concern me, like I just
Yeah,
want to stay out of
yeah,
it.
for sure.
But what's yours for the year and anything you want to
So
leave us with?
yeah, just be part of the journey. Life is all about experiences, and
Right.
everything you do is part of your journey. It tells a story, where you come from, where you're going, and Bailey P. Jones is on a rise, so we would love for you guys to take part in that, be a part of our journey, and also you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right. Right.
So just go for it. If there's something you've been working on or sitting on, just go for it and just do it. You know, our time is now. This is your moment. Stop putting it off. No more procrastinating. Just let's get it done. Let's get
Absolutely,
it done.
man. And I think those are wise words. Those are important for
Definitely.
us as a community. Us as black men, I do believe, there's a space for us in this world to be normal and to be humans. I'm gonna keep reiterating this on every episode that I do
Yeah.
because I feel like it's important for us to know that day in and day out so we can
Yeah, for
practice it,
sure.
hand it down to our kids, and they can follow that particular footsteps. We don't have to
Definitely.
be whatever someone perception is not reality. Like it's gone. Like growing up, I feel like it's like and I don't want to go into like a rant, but it's like what you put on, who you are, is like
Yeah.
it's reality. Is how people are gonna perceive you, and
Right.
what you perceive me as, and growing up in this world, some of the things that they perceive us as, I can't do nothing to change
Right.
it.
Right.
So
No,
I'm
true.
not playing into that no
Nope.
more. I'm off the standing of, what I create is reality.
Yeah,
What how I approach to life is reality, my reality, and it could be different from yours,
for
but
sure.
we can still communicate and exchange, and be pleasant towards
Oh,
each other.
100%.
So yeah,
100%.
definitely, I appreciate you sitting down with me, man. I hope you
Thank
have
you,
a
brother.
great rest of your day,
Appreciate you,
and
man. You
we'll
too.
definitely be in touch. And stay tuned for, Bailey P. Jones because these boys coming, man. All
Yes,
right, bro.
sir.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother.
All right, that's a wrap.